Today I'm on a suburban reservoir with my buddy John Levitt with Live Like John.
Live Like John. Yep.
All right, and this is some of your home water. Tell me a little bit about what you think some of our pre-spawn patterns are going to be out here on the lake.
Sure. Today we're going to be looking for water where we have about 20 to 15 feet that transitions into shallow. We're going to have about a 10 to 15 mile-an-hour wind coming out of the northwest, so we're going to look for protected areas.
Gusts up to 24 is what I read.
Gusts, okay. Well, then definitely looking for protected areas now.
The protected areas do two things. They're actually going to allow us to fish without being blown off the spot, and it's also the kind of places that we'll show you in a little bit here on the map that a lot of these fish like to set up. If you look at a map of a lake, and he has a nice bathymetric map that he's obtained on this particular reservoir, you go to those northwest corners of the lake. I mean, this is just traditional pre-spawn, reservoir largemouth stuff. Northwest corners are basically anywhere you have a higher bank that protects a shallow spawning area from a strong northwest wind. And our wind today is west-northwest, so it's going to protect us, and it's also going to be ideal spawning habitat for these fish. I don't think that they're anywhere near spawn. I mean, we've had a hard winter, and these fish are delayed. So
I know they're on the move. I mean, past 2 days I was out here, and I was starting to mark fish in places that I hadn't in the past few weeks. So they're definitely on the move. I'm seeing some water temperature changes and water breaks. So, this is the kind of day where we get that 8-pound, 10-pounder. Or this is the kind of day where we bust. But we won't know until we're out here getting our lines wet.
Cool.
Able to get him off one of Jeff's full spinner baits as a clacker bait. About a foot of water. Finally catching up to Jeff. Got a 6-pound, 1-ounce bass. She's fat. She came in about a foot of water, and that's what we've been looking for today. We've been trying to find that warm water, the wind protected sides of the cove, and that's exactly where we found them. I got her on a big white spinnerbait matching some of these threadfin shad in here. So this is a big female, and it's always important to really handle these things with care. When they get to this size, these are the genes that you want in whatever body of water. So always kind of support their belly. Don't keep them past 10 degrees. When you're holding them, blipping them, and keep in the water as long as you can. So I think it's time to put her back so she can go make more babies.
So this is probably the first these fish have come shallow this year. So they're pretty cold, and that's kind of been evident from the first two fish that I've caught that were a little bit lethargic for what they should have been doing. And that's why you really do want to slow roll a spinnerbait. Your retrieval speed is just creeping along. Now, even with it creeping along, I'm going to show you these big blades. These are two big willow leaf. They're going to have a lot of lift with a bait like this. That's why I use the heavier heads. This is a 3/4 ounce head. That'll keep it down the water column. Even with that being said, one thing that I'll do is I come out from the bank is I will retrieve it some, and then when I think it comes out over open water, I'll stall it and let it get down to the bottom again. There may be a stump or a log out away from shore, and then I'll keep it going and let it get back down to the bottom. So it's a series of slow retrieves and descents back down to the bottom where we have that woody structure.
Oh, nice.
Right up against the log, tucked in nice and shallow where it's warm. We just pulled inside the mouth of this cove. We're a little further down lake from where we first were, and height to wood, shallow. Again, it's the same northwest wind protected bank. It's a bank that's parallel from the first one that we were on. All right, big girls come shallow first. We'll send her that back down there. See you later. All right, that was a pretty good day on the water. To understand this pattern, you have to understand that the biggest fish are the ones that spawn first, and that's why we found them in the places we did. They do the best job reproducing. They produce the most eggs, and their offspring has the longest first growing season, has the best chance of making it into the next year. So with that knowledge, let's look at a sort of map that I did of the lake that we were on. And really you're looking for those banks with the steeper banks that are going to be protected from a northwest wind. These are actually the spots that we caught them in. John's 6 pound 1 ounce was there. I got a couple other in the upper fours along this bank. Caught a nicer one down here. Caught that last one off the dock here. What these spots all have in common is that protection from the wind, and we did have a strong northwest wind. Okay, so these are the banks that are going to warm up first. Now, if you didn't have wind, and really what this is right here is a cross section of this part of the reservoir right there. If you just cut the lake in half and looked at it there, this is what you have here. And it's, without any wind, and understand here, I drew the little buds on the trees. There are no leaves. This is a very early spring pattern on a reservoir. So you have this, without any wind, you have the sun-warmed top layer. Okay, mind you, no wind, a little bit cooler below. It's still cold down beneath that. And what you have when the wind really kicks in is this whole continuum gets stirred up. You have some agitation across the surface, and it pushes this along, and you get a bunch of water that's piling up there, and the deeper, colder water comes to the surface, and it just cools off all this sun-warmed layer. So anything that has that wind coming in and eventually working on it is the cooler water from the bottom is going to come up, and that water is going to stay cold. Whereas if you have protection from this bank up here, these are the spots we were getting them. Okay, these are the areas where you had a skim of pollen on the water. You had some leaves. You had some soda bottles, all kinds of stuff collected here because there was no wind scooting it off. There's a bunch of junks, pushed up against this bank, but any of the debris along in here where we were catching fish just kind of stayed there. So sun-warmed top layer with the steeper bank with the protection from the northwest wind, and that kind of illustrates why they were where they were. So when the buds are full on our trees, early spring, get to those protected northwest banks and pound them shallow.